I'm standing at my window, frozen in terror, as I stare at the familiar figure waving at me from across the street. But it's impossible. He's been dead for 3 years. 3 days ago, I had no idea my life was about to change forever. I was going about my daily routine, sipping coffee, and checking my phone for any important notifications. The sun was shining, birds were chirping, and everything seemed normal. But as I glanced out the window, I saw him. My neighbor, Mr. Jenkins, was standing in his front yard, waving at me. I waved back, thinking nothing of it. After all, we had been neighbors for years, and it was a usual greeting. But as the days went by, I started to notice something off. He was waving at me every morning, at exactly 7 a.m. At first, I thought it was just a coincidence. Maybe he had a new routine or something. But as the days turned into a week, I realized that something was very wrong. I started to feel a sense of unease every time I saw him waving at me. The smile on his face seemed to be hiding something sinister. I tried to brush it off as mere paranoia, but the feeling only intensified as the days went by. I started to notice that the streets were always empty when he waved at me. No cars driving by, no people walking their dogs, just an eerie silence. And the smell of freshly cut grass seemed to linger in the air, even in the middle of winter. I decided to do some research on Mr. Jenkins to see if I could find any explanation for his strange behavior. I talked to other neighbors, but none of them had seen him waving at me. In fact, they all seemed to avoid the topic of Mr. Jenkins altogether. It was as if they were afraid to mention his name. I started to feel like I was going crazy, like I was the only one who saw him. The darkness outside seemed to be closing in on me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I started to vary my daily routine, taking different routes to work and avoiding my window at 7 a.m. But no matter what I did, I could still feel his eyes on me. One night, I decided to investigate further. I snuck out of my house and made my way to Mr. Jenkins' house. The streets were empty, and the only sound was the creaking of trees in the wind. I approached his house, my heart racing with anticipation. As I reached the front door, I noticed that it was slightly ajar. I pushed it open and called out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" But there was no response. The house was dark and silent, except for the sound of a clock ticking in the hallway. I stepped inside, my eyes adjusting to the darkness. And that's when I saw it. A photo of Mr. Jenkins, taken on the day he died. But there was something strange about the photo. He was standing in his front yard, waving at the camera. I felt a chill run down my spine as I realized the truth. Mr. Jenkins had been dead for 3 years, but his spirit was still trapped in that house. And he was waving at me, trying to communicate something. But what? I started to feel a sense of guilt, like I had been ignoring him all this time. I decided to try and communicate with him, to see if I could uncover the truth. I started waving back at him, every morning at 7 a.m. And as I did, I started to notice something strange. The waving seemed to be getting more intense, more urgent. It was as if he was trying to tell me something, but I couldn't quite decipher the message. And then, it happened. I was standing at my window, waving at Mr. Jenkins, when I saw something that made my blood run cold. He wasn't just waving at me. He was trying to warn me. Behind him, I saw a figure lurking in the shadows. A figure that seemed to be watching me, waiting for me. I tried to scream, but my voice was frozen in my throat. The figure started to move towards me, and I knew I had to get out of there. I ran out of my house, not stopping until I was blocks away. And as I looked back, I saw Mr. Jenkins standing in his front yard, still waving at me. But this time, I knew what he was trying to say. Run. I'm still trying to process what happened. I'm still trying to understand the truth behind Mr. Jenkins' waving. But one thing is for sure. I'll never look at my neighbors the same way again. And I'll never forget the feeling of being watched, of being warned. The question is, what's waiting for me in the shadows? Is it something sinister, or is it just my imagination playing tricks on me? Subscribe to my channel for more true scary stories and horror tales. I post a new story every week, so be sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date. And if you have a scary story to share, leave it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.